All right, everyone, here we are with the Crash Bandicoot 100% run on PS2 with... Okay, can you just say your name? I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Ted's fine.
Can you bring the mic down? Like...
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Hold on, someone's coming over to mic you.
How about now?
Oh, that's better.
Okay, sweet.
All right. So, can you just tell me your name once, just so I can know how to say it?
Ted's fine, thanks.
Teb? All right. So, Teb, how are you feeling today? How's it going?
I'm feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident.
All right. Well, I mean, you got one of the classics right there, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
A lot of people here grew up on that game.
I certainly did.
It was probably one of their first PlayStation titles that they've ever played for most of us.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're ready to go whenever you are. And at the beginning of the run, you just want to give a quick rundown of what's going to happen, what kind of category it is, and so on and so forth. And on your mark, we're ready to count you in.
All right, so we'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is Crash Bandicoot 100%. The goal of the category is to get 100% completion as fast as possible, obviously, as the name implies. In order to get 100%, you need all the gems and the keys. In order to get the gems, you have to beat, you have to get every box in a level without dying past a checkpoint. Whoops. And I'll get into the keys later. So usually you don't want to get invincibility in this game, but there's a few spots, namely in the first 5 levels, where you do. In this level, it's because of the box bridge, and you'll see why in just a moment. With the invincibility, you can just walk over the bridge like this. It's faster than just individually bouncing on each box. Yeah, there's a few other levels where you get it because it's faster, or it helps with the skip, so yeah. All right, there's Insanity Beach. First level, pretty simple, just a split path. Just have to make sure you go and get all the boxes. I'll explain why I'm using the Japanese version later on, when I have more time to explain. There's a lot to explain at the start, so I'll try and explain as best as I can. All right, so second level, Jungle Rollers. This is a level that you're not supposed to be able to get all the boxes on the first visit because it requires a color gem. On some levels, you get a color gem instead of a clear gem, and they act as platforms to secret areas in later levels or previous levels. In this case, we're supposed to come back with the green gem to access the secret area, but if we get this invincibility up here, we can get the off-screen boxes, because invincibility kind of makes your hitbox bigger, so you can grab them. I'm going to jump up here, bounce on a bouncy crate, strafe in the air, and I got all 3 boxes that are up there. I'm just going to go back and make sure I got all those, because in practice, I actually missed one of those, and don't want to repeat that. Better safe than sorry. A little bit of a damage abuse there. Just using the mask because I don't need it to get through those rollers without having to wait. I'll explain the movement tech zigzagging. You probably noticed me zigzagging in the air. I'll explain why that's faster in 2 levels because there's a pretty convenient visual aid. All right, so that's the second level. After every level, it shows the other gems you got in addition to the one you just got. So those screens will get longer and longer. This is another level where we're not supposed to be able to get 100% on the first pass. We're supposed to come back with the yellow gem, but there's another skip. This one's even easier than the one in the previous level, but we do need at least 1 mask for it. We're going to do a damage abuse that'll put us out of bounds so we can walk on the ceiling, basically, and then walk into the secret area, excuse me. Spinning can protect you from those spikes. I didn't have to do it on that instance of cycles. Whoops. All right, I'm going to bounce on this turtle, damage abuse, hold the diagonal, and I'm out of bounds. And then I can walk over to the secret area without any yellow gem at all. I'd say the skip in this level and the skip in the previous level, I think all new runners should learn them. But as for the other two revisit skips, those are definitely harder, so it's more understandable if you don't go for those. Cortex power skip, I think you could do at an average level now, but upstream is top level only, I think. And that there was a box spin jump. If you well time a spin and a jump, you can bounce off a box and break it, so that's abused there. There's a hidden box back there. It's easy to miss when you play casually. I'm just going to keep this mask because I will try the upstream skip, and that requires invincibility, so I do need to keep at least one mask out of this level. All right, third level. It's nice to get out of those first 3 levels in a marathon run, because while the skips are easy, marathon luck can happen. One little screw up can mess you up for sure. All right, so there's no skips or anything in this level. There's 2 of these types of levels where you're chased by a boulder. The boulder insta-kills you if it touches you. It's kind of like Indiana Jones type stuff. And this level is the best way to explain the zigzagging technique that you've seen me do. Now, this boulder that chases you is supposed to be on your tail for like most of the entire level. And those who play this casually will know that if you bump into like one fence, the boulder will kill you. But with the zigzagging and abusing that, you get farther and farther away. There's an in-depth explanation for why zigzagging works, but the most basic way I can explain it is just alternating diagonals as fast as possible, based on the direction in which you're going. So I'm going downward here, and I'm alternating down left and down right as much as possible, and I'm gaining more and more distance from the boulder. You also want to combine it with spin jumps like I'm doing there. It's just really fast. I'm just going to take it easy at the end here because I don't want to get my jump eaten. All right. So the next level is a really difficult skip. It's very precise. If I don't get it, I won't be that surprised because it's not often you get it in marathons, but it could happen. So I'll try it. It's also pretty hard to explain. I'm going to get the mask at the start because I want invincibility for later on. The first thing I'm going to do when I get the invincibility is I'm going to do a submarine jump to get a hidden box that you're supposed to only be able to get with the orange gem by coming back to this level. As I said in Jungle Rollers, invincibility just kind of makes your hitbox bigger so you can hit it from pretty far away. And the way a submarine jump works is, you'll see me do it a lot more in the later stages. The way it works is if you spin as you're falling off an edge, and then jump within 10 frames after the spin animation finishes, you can get what looks like a mid-air jump. It's abused a lot throughout the game, but in this one it helps for the skip. The second part of the skip is, I'll explain it after. For marathon's sake, I'm going to get this checkpoint in case I mess this up, because the last checkpoint's very far away. All right, I got it first try. That was a submarine jump. And up here, if I'm in a good spot on this lily pad and I jump up on the wall, Crash will go up the wall. I don't think that'll work. Nah, I tapped right a bit too much. That was close. I'll consider that a decent attempt. Like I said, it's very difficult. I don't expect to get it in marathons. I was getting it a lot earlier this week when I was practicing, so it's unfortunate I didn't get it, but it's not a big deal. So yeah, there's an array of positions you can stand on that lily pad, and if you're in the right position and you jump at that wall while you're spinning, Crash will just go up the wall. To be honest, I don't really understand why it works, I just know how to do it. And once you're finished climbing up the wall, you can walk on the ceiling out of bounds, kind of like in Great Gate, and once you're in the secret area, you jump down and you don't have to revisit the level. Definitely the hardest skip, way harder than the other ones in this game. Luckily, it's only the 5th level, so resets for it aren't too bad. Shoutouts to White Paws for the current method for getting that skip. It's way better than what we used to do. We now understand it a lot more thanks to him. And you might have noticed when I landed on it, I tapped right. That was to try and fix my position. We used to not, we didn't know that you could do that before. Also, that boss is really easy. Crash bosses are very simple, very self-explanatory. All that's worth noting is he has more health on the Japanese version. All right, this level requires a color gem as well, but we don't have a skip for it at this time, so we just do an any % pass and come back to it later. It's no choice. I guess now I could explain why I'm using the Japanese version. The Japanese version is faster because of one level that you don't have to backtrack to, so there's only one visit to it. That level's Road to Nowhere, and it requires the red gem. In this version, the red gem is placed before that level, so therefore you only have to visit it once. It's in the Lost City in this version, whereas in other versions it's all the way in Slippery Climb, which is very far away from that level. Yeah, that's the primary reason. There's also stuff like the high road is shorter because they thought it was too difficult and other stuff. But do note that the American version is faster for any percent. I'll explain more the Japanese red gem thing when I get to those relevant levels.
Open up a world of music.
All right, so this is a auto-scroller vehicle level on a hog. There's only 2 of these types of levels. The other one is all the way in the backtracking section of the run. Yeah, these are on-rails auto-scrollers. Zigzag doesn't work. You can't really save time on them. Just got to make sure you don't miss any boxes. The other hog variation level that we do is very glitchy, but at least this one doesn't really have many bugs. Every movement you make, the hog makes a squealing noise, and it's believed that on slower and older PS2s or PS1s or whatever, that can cause lag. So I guess if you're on slower models, you want to move as little as possible to save time, not lose time, rather. Yeah, this game doesn't have many auto-scrollers. It's just these 2 hog levels, and the bosses can be a bit slow, but they're short at least. Everything else is just pure 90s platforming. All right, something worth noting is we get the green gem on this level in the Japanese version. You're supposed to get it in Lost City on the other versions, but since they moved the red gem there, they had to put the green gem somewhere else, so they just put it there. It's not really relevant to this category. All right, this is another level that requires a color gem for 2 visits, but there's no skip, so just got to do an any percent pass. I'm getting that mask for an out of bounds later in the level. It's the exact same concept as Great Gate. I could also explain cycles in this level. There's 3 different types of cycles in this game: global, spawn, and local. Local, there's only really 1 example of, and I'll talk about that when I get to that level. It won't be for a while. Global cycles, a good example of them is all the spikes and the flames in this level. Global cycles are always moving. It's a shame I lost that mask. I can't do the oob now. Global cycles are always moving as long as the game isn't paused or in a loading screen. Whoops. So, and I think the reason they made them that way is because they wanted to have a way to make them pseudo-random, even though they're actually not random at all. You can often predict them with enough knowledge. Yeah, it doesn't matter much if you don't get the out of bounds. It doesn't really save or lose time particularly, so not a big deal. And I showed off the one in Great Gate, so yeah, it's the same concept, not really missing much. And the other type of cycle, the spawn cycle, it's a cycle that starts moving when you're in a certain proximity of it. Good example of those are all the rollers in the level that I did 2 stages ago, Rolling Stones. Dying resets the global cycles, so I'm going to do that there, just because the cycles look pretty bad. There's an example of spin invincibility. You can use your spin to survive certain things. When you do it on spikes, you just have to get off them quickly and you'll survive. Yeah, dying to reset global cycles is abused in a few stages. On this level, it's situational. You can't do it on the second visit because if you die past a checkpoint on a gem level, you can't get the gem. It's artificial difficulty. All right, up the creek. Finally, it's going to be a simple level. No color gem needed. Just get all the boxes. There's a few things to explain in this level, but other than that, it's pretty basic. This level can eat your inputs a lot. Eating it, like dropped inputs, eating inputs are when you press a button and nothing happens. It's just because the game is old and laggy. It just happens. Sometimes you can go slow in certain spots where they happen a lot, but sometimes you'll get them in places you never saw before. Also there, you might have noticed I tapped down. That moved the camera down and manipulated that plant cycle so I could go past him without him eating me. It's very minor, but it helps. This category has a lot of minor stuff like that that you won't really think of unless explained to you. If you spin these monkeys while they're rolling, they knock you to the side. It's pretty funny when people play the game for the first time, try and do that, and they get destroyed. All right, so up here, you have to hit an exclamation point box and backtrack. But I'm going to step on these lily pads in a certain order so I still have enough to go back. Just going to play that part safe. There's obviously a faster way to do that, but marathon safety. It's very easy to mess up. The death trigger in that waterfall is pretty insane. Up here, I'm going to snipe this fish into some boxes. This instance doesn't save time, but it's kind of helpful. You only have to break one box as opposed to 3. Sniping is when you spin an enemy into boxes or other enemies even. It's not a glitch, it is intentional. I think it's pretty cool. That last jump onto the portal can be pretty scary if you try and over-optimize it. Everyone undershoots it at least once in their Crash 1 speedrunning career. All right, Ripperoo, second boss. Pretty simple again. One thing worth noting in bosses in this game is you spawn with 2 masks. You don't keep them out of it, but that's relevant to this boss because we're going to use 2 of those masks to damage abuse on the last 2 phases. By spinning the TNT instead of having to wait for it to detonate. Naturally, that's faster. His pattern's the same every time. Pretty cool trick there. You can cancel that death with the victory animation. You can mess it up, though. Everyone messes it up once and has to redo the fight. All right, the Lost City. This is a level where I'm going to die at the start to reset all the global cycles to a scripted position and a faster position. These Aztec levels have a lot of cycles in them, so we do it in the other Aztec type level as well. These bats can be a pain. If you kill both mother bats, the baby bats will all die. But if there's too many baby bats in your hitbox, they will hurt you or kill you if you are even spinning, so you have to be careful, especially in this part right here. This part right here is awful. All right, we got it. There's a hidden mask up here. That one doesn't really save time, but it's nice if you're on the right cycle for it. Sometimes you miss that cycle if you don't zigzag enough, but it doesn't save time, so it's not a big deal. Because like you have to wait on these anyway. Even if I miss that cycle there, that won't lose time because I have to wait on this. Knowledge is critical in levels like this. That box there triggers some boxes at the top of the vertical section. You can jump on these platforms while they're in the wall, but it's a 3-frame trick, and I've always been pretty bad at it. Not always, I used to be good at them, but I just lost it somewhere. And also, like, just a month ago, I switched to CRT, so there's another excuse. I used to be able to do them decently on my flat screen TV, but now I'm on the CRT. It's a running joke in my stream that people call the CRT the CTR. Submarine jump there. You can do a normal jump there, but I like that strat right now. I'm gonna play it kind of safe at the end here because this level is very, very difficult. It's one of the hardest levels in the game, and I'm not even going for hardest strats for this. That's a cool strat at the end there, just 3D range on the box. For some reason, those 2 boxes at the end explode when they spawn. I'm not going to complain because it would be pretty awkward having to go back and break them. I'm going to try and carry the cycles that I got from dying at the start into this level. As I said, the cycles, global cycles are always running, so. But if it looks like I'm too behind on the cycle, I won't go for it because I do want to play it more safe in a marathon, of course. I'll try and spin this TNT. There we go. You can do that. You can spin TNTs in all sorts of ways and not get hurt. It's basically just like the TNT. You're faster than the TNT explosion, pretty much. It's pretty simple. Yeah, you can spin jump on top of them, spin beside them, as long as you time it correctly. Oop. It dropped my spin input there. That's been happening a lot lately. That might mess up my cycles later. The cycles at the end of the level are the same every time, so I'm not worried about those. But ones up here are probably gone now. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Actually, no. I'm still studying the cycles in this level a bit more. I used to be kind of lazy about knowing what the cycles are from Lost City. I also just did global cycles in Lost City for the longest time, like an idiot. Also, back there, before I hit those 2 boxes, I moved to the right, and that actually manipulated that flame cycle to be not going when I step on it. All right, these cycles at the end here are the same. Question is, will I get the God cycle? God cycle is when it's the fastest cycle that we know that we can catch. And I got it, nice. Didn't have to wait at all. That's the God cycle. Until someone finds a faster one. I wouldn't doubt there's a faster one, but that's the best we know of currently. That was a pretty good Temple Ruins considering the couple bad things that happened. Still got the cycles I wanted. That'd be a pretty good split back home. All right, Road to Nowhere. Back to the Japanese version topic. This level is the reason it's faster because you can do that without getting hurt. That's one of my favorite strats that I came up with. Anyways, on the American and European version, you have to play this level twice because you won't have the red gem here and there's no known skip for it. But on the Japanese version, we got the red gem 2 levels ago, so we can 100% this level on the very first pass. Yeah, red gem's up here. If you're looking to run this game, though, and you're stuck with the American version, it's not a big deal. Like, you have the fast version for any % with that, and also you can still get really good times. It's probably only, like, 55 seconds to, like, a minute slower than Japanese for 100%. Oops. Try that again. See? TNT spin. You'll also notice on the Japanese version, the TNTs have a bomb on them instead of TNT. It's an interesting change. It makes sense, though, because TNT. These levels are pretty difficult casually. I know I hated this level as a kid. You can walk across the one hole wide spaces between the brown planks, as you can see. Zigzagging also kind of breaks these levels. You can jump over everything. You don't have to bounce on the turtles. You can just spin them and jump over. All right, this section at the end is really stupid from a casual perspective because you don't really know what's going on here. Like, you have these invisible platforms with no hints as to where they are, and the ones I'm jumping on are the only ones that are there. So if you fall between them, you're dead, and you have to redo the whole level. But obviously, I know where they are. This game has a lot of questionable decisions like that by the developers, kind of evil design. And those evil design choices still are in later Crash games. All right, this is another level that we need a color gem for, but there's no skip, so we're just going to do an any % pass. If you still don't understand why zigzagging works, here's another example. Again, that boulder's supposed to be right on your tail without zigzagging if you're just walking. But with zigzag, you just get farther and farther away like it's not even there. It's just raw movement. Downward zigzag's my weakest direction of zigzag, but I think I can still show off the point. How zigzagging works. Yeah, there's an in-depth explanation for why zigzagging works involving like Pythagorean theorem and stuff like that, but basically just alternate diagonals as much as you can. And it doesn't work while you're going diagonally, and it also doesn't work when you're on the ground. I always forget to mention that. There's actually another PlayStation game that has zigzagging, but it also works on the ground. I guess I could also explain spin timer. Sorry, there's so much to explain in this run. The spin timer is a thing put in by the developers, so you can't abuse spin constantly. Imagine a meter that has 6 slots, and with every spin you do, you lose a slot. Like the slot empties, but it recharges over time, and it takes 2 seconds for each slot to respawn. Imagine that's your spin timer. So you can spin 6 times in a row, and your meter will be completely drained, but it'll fill up over time. So when you're spinning to go faster, you have to be careful that you have enough spins to kill enemies and break boxes. there comes a point in every crash runner's life where you have like an internal spin timer. You don't even have to count your spins. You know if you're spinning too much and you need to be careful. There's spin invincibility again. Oh, also, this level is not here on the Japanese version. It's supposed to be on the third island. But they switched it with Sunset Vista because they found Sunset Vista was harder. Sunset Vista is certainly long, which I think makes it hard, but otherwise I don't think it's too bad. It's one of my favorite levels in terms of the atmosphere. It has great music. I love the atmosphere. It's awesome. Here I wait because I would have to wait on these stairs anyway, and it can kind of desync the cycles. With the localization of this game to the Japanese version, something wrong happened in this level in Sunset Vista where the cycles can screw up. In the run, it doesn't do it in Sunset Vista because we die at the start and it fixes them, but yeah, something went terribly wrong with the localization. Some waiting here. There's stairs up here. There's ways to predict them, but sometimes it just doesn't work. I've had issues with them, and also the fact it's a marathon. I'm just going to wait on them regardless of what I get. It's a big re-entry if you have to re-enter, if you die to them. Yeah. I have no shame in waiting for that. I haven't grannied out too much in this run so far. But there are certainly some spots you just want to play more safely in a marathon because it can lose several minutes just because of one death. Oh, didn't make that cycle. That's fine. All right, I got that cycle skip. I was considering wussing out on that, but I manned up and went for it. I failed it a few days ago, so I think that's why I was scared of it. Oops. Not used to having a mic this close to my mouth. So sorry if I knock it by mistake. All right, so we're almost finished the second island, which is, I might consider that the hardest part of the run, honestly. And some parts of Island 3 are hard too, of course, but Boss 3, it has different music on the Japanese version. I hate it so much. It's just not as good in my opinion, but yeah. He throws rocks that he can just spin. And then he's gonna throw a big rock, and with that, there's one of the few cases of RNG in this run, which is, RNG means random number generator, random. The amount of times he steps to the left before he throws this rock is random. Any movement you do with Crash can quote-unquote manipulate it, but you won't get it consistent unless you're doing a task. So you can just move around and hope. Everything else in the fight, like the minecarts, the TNTs, and everything, they're all consistent. It's just how many times he steps to the left before he throws it. This is pretty unlucky. But excuse me, luckily, it only loses a few seconds. Usually, if you get bad RNG, it's not like minutes or anything, or like 30 seconds, like some other games might have. Wow, this is awful. There's not much I can do about it, though. Just have to pray. Yep. I got hit because I was looking at the TV. That's fine. You don't keep these masks out of here anyway. All right, heavy machinery. I'm gonna wait. There's a very rare game crash that can happen on the map. No one really fully understands it, but I think mashing too hard on the map might be a cause for it, so I was just careful there. Because many people have had it entering this level. There's a secret area under here. That's not the way you're supposed to enter it. You're supposed to enter it from the right. There's 2 spike robots that give it away, but obviously that's faster than going all the way to the right. See what cycles I get here. Bad cycles, that's unfortunate. But luckily I can just jump around them like that. You can do a submarine jump to clear this hole. It's not marathon friendly though, because that pipe in the wall, it sticks out for some stupid reason, and you can bonk on it and fail it. And I am also still getting used to CRT, so there's another excuse for not going for that. It's kind of unfortunate I lost that mask, because I could have gotten invincibility, which is kind of helpful on this level, but it's not a big deal. I'm going to do a submarine jump in this area coming up here. Skip's having to wait on this platform. Nice. I've failed that a lot in marathons before, just for some reason. Pretty unlucky, but I didn't want to granny out on it because it's so cool. Ascending section is really sick. If you time an X input and a spin input right on those bouncy things, they bounce you right up instead of having to fall back down and bounce on them again. It's way faster. Looks really sick. Yeah, that level has all sorts of cool stuff in it past the first checkpoint. It's a pretty difficult level. That level takes a while to get good at, for sure. It's a big run killer, especially in any percent, because you don't have any masks. Except for the one you get. All right, so this is the first level in a while that requires a color gem for a second visit, but we have a skip for it, so we can do it on the first visit. It's easier than upstream, but harder than the other two I did at the start of the run. It is consistent, but it's still pretty easy to mess up the execution. This skip used to be random. It used to be such a pain, but me and the 8-Bit Beast, and lots of other people too, Rex and everything, worked together to try and find a better way to do this skip, and we seem to have found it now. I can still fail. If I fail it, I'll just get the blue gem and come back. It's consistent enough now where I could re-enter and try it again, but for a marathon's sake, I really wouldn't want to mess it up twice, so. Ooh. That part there is a scary part of the level. All right, so here I've got to hold a diagonal up against this wall, and for some reason, if you mash correctly, you'll go out of bounds and in the ceiling. All right, and if I do the right inputs there, Crash will warp over there. And the reason I think that works is because basically the camera thinks Crash should be over there, and he's not over there, so it just moves him over there. I could be wrong on that, so sorry if I am, but that's my understanding of it. I just know how to do it. So here, I need to do a submarine jump off this wall, if I'm in the right position. Nice. This box bridge is horrifying.
Do we have time for a few donations?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we got $5 from Manix986, who said, Didi on the mic, save your breath from Mystic Quest, buddy. Thanks for everyone putting this together. I hope people in Toronto are enjoying the show live. Put this towards Save Otacon, because Otacon means save frames, right? And I'm gonna answer this right now because I thought the same thing until Video Game Roulette himself told me yesterday, but actually saving Merrill saved frames, so yep. And we got a $1.79 donation from Video Game Roulette, who said, couldn't resist, I saw the opportunity, good luck to all runners tonight, and see you guys shortly. Well, see you soon, Video Game Roulette.
All right, so yeah, I'm happy I got the skip in the previous level. Like I said, it's consistent now, but it's still very easy to mess up. You have to time that submarine jump well enough to not hit another clip that you can bonk your head off, and if you hit that, you're dead. The skip's always been a pain in the butt, and even though it's consistent now, it'll always be a pain in the butt, because you can also mess up the box bridge after. Just gonna do some diagonal jumps. I wasn't really paying attention to this cycle, that's why I had a delayed reaction there. That's fine. I messed up the box strat, so I had to wait on those spikes. No big deal. The CRT is more dark than I'm used to, so I'm just going to be careful I don't jump into the void thinking I'm landing on something. You can actually skip this riding platform, but it only saves 3 seconds, and it's pretty difficult. We call them the red hot strats. Very famous strats. You do like 3 different submarine jumps off the scenery. It's pretty sick. If it was any percent, I would probably try them because you don't lose several minutes if you die. You just respawn at the previous checkpoint. That level gives us the orange gem. This run's going pretty well so far. I was just missing upstream skip. That's been the biggest mistake so far. I'm definitely known as one of the most consistent runners in this category. I worked for that consistency a lot. The strats on the boxes there at the start are pretty sick. This level, the invincibility saves about 2 seconds. It's mainly because of these boxes here. You can just break them easily like that. And something I found in this level is if you time a spin correctly on these yellow barrels, you'll just go through them without bouncing up. And since your base movement speed is increased a lot when you're walking on the ground, it's naturally faster because you spend less time on the air. And yeah, you don't want to zigzag when you're invincible, except for when you're jumping over gaps that you need to. This level has awesome music. Pretty gimmicky level. They had these brown barrels that bounce. They bounce in the same spot every time, though, so it's a scripted level. The biggest challenge in this level for speedrunners is not zigzagging off the side. It's very easy to do that, and everyone loses runs to it all the time. I can beat this last cycle. No, I'm not going to make it. You can spin that last barrel guy before he throws it. It's very difficult. You need, like, flawless movement. All right, so we're coming up to the 4th boss. So far, so good. I'm really glad I got the Cortex power skip, because in past marathons, I messed it up. But it also helps it's more consistent now, for sure. That's a huge influence. All right, so 4th boss, Pinstripe, auto-scroller pretty much. But one thing worth noting is it's faster to not hit him right there when he's vulnerable, because he does less animations and jumping around later in the fight. And also for the first 3 hits, you can just spin him over and over for some reason, but it doesn't work on the last 3 hits. I've never really understood that. Also, as long as you're in that animation where he's ducking for cover, the bullets won't hurt you. It doesn't matter if you're right in front of his gun. It looks pretty funny. You can see him like ducking there, and the bullets won't hurt me. I am going to damage abuse, though, here, so I can hit him faster, save some frames. Also, the music here is different on this version. It sucks a lot. I think all the Japanese version music is worse. Some people disagree, though. Shoutouts to Trob. All right, coming up to the high road. Another level that's famously difficult when you're playing casually. I find it to be pretty chill in speedruns, though. It has this backtrack at the start, which is pretty stupid. The only platforms here are the ones I'm jumping on, so you get pretty confused there when you play casually. A sort of gimmick in this level are these turtles. You're supposed to bounce on them, which makes them flip onto their belly, which is super bouncy, and that's how you're supposed to clear these jumps. But with zigzagging, you don't need to do it at all. You can also walk on the ropes, but it's not faster because it's a very thin thing to land on. So you can't zigzag on it unless you're a task, so it's slower. And also, if you're walking on the ropes, you're not sliding on the ice, which is faster as well. So we don't touch the ropes at all in this speedrun. Pretty good high road. Up next is the longest level in the game. It's supposed to be on Island 2 in the other versions, but it was moved here for being too hard. This was the level I could not beat as a child for the life of me. It was so hard for me. But now, it's a pretty fun level to speedrun. We do die at the start to reset the cycles, and also I'm going to move to the right before getting that box, which manipulates that flame cycle, so it's not going when I walk onto it. This level is so long and it has so many cycles that dying at the start is critical. It's like way faster, and it also makes the level way easier. Because as I said back in Slippery Climb, there was an issue in the localization of this game to the Japanese version where the cycles in this level are kind of messed up. They can desync where they're impossible to get through until you wait for them to sync up again, which is obviously really slow in a speedrun. You might have noticed I waited on some cycles back there. They don't save time to skip, because you have to wait on stuff later if you do them. You can tell how much someone knows about this level based on what cycles they go for. All right, the first floor is definitely the hardest part, I think, so glad to get through that. Those cycles back there, all those boards and those pushing walls, that's a huge reason why dying at the start is faster, because if you get a bad cycle there, you have to wait for so long for them to sync up. You actually don't have to wait on those at all, but I had to wait on them just because I was ahead of the cycle. Didn't lose time or anything. Up here, I'm going to bounce off this checkpoint and hit this off-screen box. Oop. Drop my jump there, that's fine. You're supposed to wait for that lizard to come over and bounce on his head to hit it, but obviously having to wait for him to come over is way slower, so. Still on the correct cycle. Oh, and we're also getting a bonus round. I totally forgot to explain bonus rounds. Like I said, there's a lot to explain in this run, so. There's 3 types of bonus rounds in this game: Tana, Brio, and Cortex. Tana ones let you save your game, which obviously in a speedrun you don't need to do. Brio bonus rounds, no one really knows what they're for, maybe for just extra lives or an extra challenge, but those don't give you percent, so we don't do them. But Cortex bonus rounds give you a key, 2 keys, which unlock 2 secret levels. But you don't need the boxes in bonus rounds. They changed this in the remake, though. You just have to get to the end and grab the key and get out of there. You can actually fall behind the portal and die, and that's actually faster because it skips that little password screen that you saw there for a brief second. And you keep the key, and you also keep your mask, too. It's just kind of finicky trying to get behind the portal and fall. I don't know why I went for that cycle. That doesn't save time. I'm going to have to wait up here. I'll have to wait on this cycle, I believe. Yeah. I think the farthest I got in this level as a kid was up here. I think I died to this lizard when I had 1 life left. And since this level's on Island 2 in the American version, which is what I played as a child, I always wondered what was in that volcano, and I wondered what was on Island 3. Those times might have been before YouTube and all that. All right, so that's the longest level in the game. If I were to die at the end, it would lose 3 minutes. So that shows how long it is. All right, this is the last level that requires a color gem that we don't have a skip for. Every level after this, we're going to get a gem on. So it's doing an 90% pass. This level eats my inputs a lot. I'll go slow in some sections like this platform here to try and not get one. Do a submarine jump to catch that cycle. Or are these hard squares? Hard squares is when you get bad cycles here everywhere. Okay, no. Not bad cycles, but like you have to do a bunch of submarine jumps to catch them. And I'll explain submarine jumps again, because why not? If anyone's just tuned in. Submarine jumps is when you spin off a ledge and jump within 10 frames after the spin animation finishes, and you can get like a mid-air jump. It's very cool. It's exclusive to this game, and I think it's in the Insane trilogy as well, but I'm not too knowledgeable on that. It's like a different setup for it, though, I believe. Here's another really sick submarine jump. Yeah, I guess I didn't explain the gimmick of this level. I'm just going to wait on this last pendulum. Aku Aku acts as your light source. So when you collect a mask, he acts kind of like a firefly. So, and since he's your hit point, if you get hit, you lose your light. And it also runs out if you're too slow or don't pick up another one. They changed this in later Crash games and made it a firefly. This level has a respawn cycle as well, so I'm going to die at the start to reset the global cycles. This one's definitely harder to catch all the cycles, but it also makes the level a bit easier too. Ooh, that was close. You can use spin invincibility to spin through the spears and also electricity. You probably saw me do that in Cortex Power. Just forgot to explain it because I was too busy worrying about the skip. All right, so I got those cycles. Good start. Here I can do some submarine jumps through these spears. I shouldn't have to do it on the first one. Nope. Nice. You can jump on the side of that flame and not get hurt. I barely missed it, though. Yeah, I'm not going to get the cycles anymore. I just didn't want to die to that TNT. I'm fine with that. This cycle should be the same, though. Yeah, this cycle is a spawn cycle. Ooh. There is a hidden box up there above those metal crates. You will miss it the first time you play this game casually. Very evil game design. There's some spots in a few Crash games where there's a hidden box. You can't really see that easily. You get all the way to the end and it says you missed a box. It's evil. Oh. Yeah, I kind of took it slow there because I'm not going to get the cycles later on anyway. Also, invincibility is faster just because of that big group of boxes back there and also that TNT. That's one of the last invincibilities we'll get in the run. I'll try and get one in the next level. The one in the next level is preference, but I personally like it. This level also has a bonus round. This snake up here, if I spin him, he'll hit the TNT and blow up the Cortex token. Again, evil game design, so I just have to bounce on him. You can also spin him diagonally, so he won't snipe forward, but that's my preference personally. I'm going to do slower strats in this bonus because of all the things that I'm not used to on CRT, it's something in this bonus. Oops. Okay. I meant to spin jump that, but that's fine. You can usually do a sequence break with a submarine jump, but I've been messing it up so much. I feel like I can do every submarine jump well on CRT now, except for that one, which is unfortunate because it's really punishing if you miss it. So. All right, Jaws of Darkness is a very scary level, so I'm glad I got through it. It's a big run killer in both categories. So yeah, these gem screens are getting longer and longer now that we have more gems. All right, so the next level, Castle Machinery. If you recall earlier when I was talking about cycles, this is the level that has that one local cycle. A local cycle is a cycle that starts moving when you enter the level. And there's a big rising platform at the end that started moving when I entered this level. And so sort of a gimmick in the speedrun of this level is I need to go fast enough in order to not have to wait on that cycle. I'd say this is one of my least favorite levels, not because it's hard, it's usually pretty easy, it's just kind of boring because you're forced to wait on these platforms. Again, invincibility in this level is preference. I think it makes it easier, and yeah. With this level with the cycle at the end, you can kind of pick and choose what strats you want to go for to get the cycle. Like, you can actually jump under these platforms and through the bottom of them, but I don't like doing that. And I don't have to do them because I don't save time. They just, like, I do other strats to make up for it because you can't really catch the faster cycle. It's not really viable. I guess I'll also mention you don't even play this level in any percent because in any percent they get the green gem, which at the start you might have noticed there was a green gem platform, which lets you skip the entire level. But since this is 100% and we need to break all the boxes, we just don't even go in that area. There's a billion different ways to do this box bridge. The really flashy ways to do it only save time if you're going for like the burger god cycle, which no one's going to go for. At least not now. Maybe in the future. It'd be cool if people implemented it in the future. But yeah, that's the local cycle. I played the level well enough just to catch that cycle. I'm going to try and jump around these. Okay, I'm barely making that. And I'll damage abuse. All right, pretty good castle machinery. So yeah, there's less stuff to talk about at this point in the run as we go through more levels, whereas at the start there's just so much to talk about. I'm running out of breath. Boss number 5, this is actually the last boss we fight. There's another boss, which is the final boss, but he doesn't give you a percent, and we get a better ending from 100% anyway, so we don't fight him in this category. You only fight him in any percent. Yeah, for whatever reason, he throws the green potions, and when you kill the green slimes, it hurts him. It doesn't really make sense, and the pink ones just explode when they make contact with the ground, obviously. And for the last 3 phases rather, he turns into this monster and you just jump on his head. He makes pretty questionable noises on the Japanese version. Shoutouts to Rico. They changed it in the Insane trilogy. When you hit the green slimes, they squirt stuff at them, which makes more sense, but I guess in this game, they just makes them more angry. Anyways, this is the lab. It's the last main level before we do the backtracking part of the run. So after this level, we're going to turn around on the map. All right, that's a pretty cool room. I call that the one-cycle room because you open the door and try and break every other box before the door closes. These electric guys, you're supposed to have a little fight with them and try and push them into the hole, but you can just jump around them, which is obviously way faster and easier. Yeah, these switches open doors and trap doors and stuff. Spinning that enemy hits a bunch of TNTs and opens all these doors. You don't even see the TNTs because he blows them up, but it's very, very nice. Luckily, if you're not sure what that cycle is going to be, you can just jump to the side. That TNT spin at the end, you pretty much have to do, because if you jump on the portal before they blow up, they won't count, so you have to redo the level. So either you spin those TNTs or you bounce on them and wait for them to blow up. Obviously, the former is faster. All right, so now we do the backtracking now that we have almost all the color gems. The last color gem is in this level. It's kind of funny. This level, Lights Out, has a color gem, but you need a color gem to get it. It can be a bit confusing the first time you play the game. This is one of the shortest splits in the game because the level gets cut off because you go into the secret area and it has an exit portal. Ooh. It's very easy to bonk on the archways and die. It's one of the biggest killers in this level. This cycle here is the same every time. I forgot to explain that on the first visit. All right, I'm going to be careful here. Okay, that spot drops or delays my input a lot. Yeah, I just want to get out of here. The level's pretty easy at its core, but it's very laggy in some spots for me, so it can eat my input and kill my run. All right, now we have all the color gems, so we can do all the backtracking. The rest of the backtracking from this point is both preference and also based on masks. There is another hog level we need to do, and that takes away your masks if you enter it, so the position of that level is influenced by that. But like here, most people do this level here. You can also do it as your very last level, but that's pretty masochistic in my opinion. It has this section at the start which is very stupid. Really screws you up when you play casually. I do abuse submarine jumps though there. I could have done a submarine jump to catch that. I just reacted to it a bit late. I think this is the hardest level to get the gem on casually. Used to take me hours when I played casually. Very difficult level. A big issue would be running out of light, but since you know the cycles as a speedrunner and you're also zigzagging, you don't really see the light go out unless you skip a mask, like on the any % passive lights out where you can skip them if you want. Yeah, when the lights go out, the level's like pitch dark, but you can still see the green and brown platforms. I've had arguments with people on what color these platforms are. They look like pinkish to me, I don't know. But you can kind of see them in the dark if your TV is bright enough. Ooh, I hit an archway there but survived. That just gave me a little heart attack. That would have been like the first major death in this run. I'm actually not even sure if I've had an unintentional death outside of missing upstream skip, which is, again, is a very hard skip. I didn't really expect to get it in this. Yeah, I just want to get out of here. Everyone dies on those last 3 spider jumps at some point. I think my very first run dies there. All right, I forgot to mention, that was the first secret level. We got that by getting a key from one of those Cortex bonuses. You don't get anything if you just beat it normally, you just gotta get the gem from it. All right, I'm gonna do the second secret level next, which is Whole Hog. Oops, I didn't mean to go there. This level would be very easy if it wasn't so buggy. Most of the bugs are preventable, but they can still mess you up. Something interesting at the start of this level is you can hold neutral at the start and not get hurt. Only until a certain point. But the first bug in this level is there's a box that you can just walk over and not break, but the way to not have that happen is hit it from as far right as possible and not like hold neutral, like I just did there. And also, this cycle here is very buggy. Nice, I barely made it over that. I think lag has a big influence on that cycle. Also here, you can hold right and not get hurt by that spike. You can also skip this bongo trampoline thing. Yeah. A few cool swag things. The level's pretty stable from this point. On my console, I can hold right and survive that cycle, but I've heard from other people that doesn't work on their consoles, so yeah, you kind of have to figure out what to do there on your own, unfortunately, just because lag does influence cycles. Like, actually, if you play on like a PS1 or like a 39K PS2, a lot of the cycles will be easier to catch because lag slows them down more. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the faster version because you're still losing time to lag in general. And stuff like breaking boxes is so slow on slower consoles because there's so much lag, and you'll also get more dropped inputs because of the lag. So the 90K PS2, I think, is definitely the fastest for this category. Any percent, it's been theorized that more cycles might be possible on slower consoles, but it's not been confirmed, so it's pretty much just like it makes cycles easier, but not necessarily faster. So yeah, if I got the skip on this first level, I wouldn't have to revisit it, but not a big deal. That's been like the only notable mistake in this run, pretty much, which I'm very happy about. Yeah, it's a shame because I was getting the upstream skip a lot earlier this week, often first try and everything. But it's not a big deal. I would honestly rather get the Cortex power skip over this one. Ooh. For marathon's sake, I'm going to wait on this leaf. You can submarine jump over it. I think I did that on the first visit. This would probably be PB pace if I got upstream skip, though still not very good because playing safe in some spots and there were other smaller mistakes that add up. My PB is a 104.47, second place. I've had the world record in the past. Current record's a lower 104.07, I think. I would like to get like a 104 1x at some point, but I'll probably take a break from this category after this marathon run, play some other stuff, because I played this category a lot this year, and while it's been fulfilling and worth all the energy I put into the category. I think I need a pretty long break from it. I'm happy with my current PB for now, though. I think I earned it.
I can confirm world record is 104.07.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, that's by Kojiro, legendary Crash 1 player, and a good friend of mine as well. I'll give more shout-outs at the end to the appropriate people. And yeah, this level you have to do in 2 visits because you don't have the blue gem for the first pass and there's no skip. Up here, there's a damage abuse strat to get a hidden box here. Shoutouts to White Paws for this one. Very cool strat. That's a pretty new one. Here, you just have to touch this blue gem and it gets rid of the death trigger. You don't have to write it down or anything. Whoops. All right, I hope I didn't go past any boxes. Sometimes you'll miss boxes on the second visit because of muscle memory from the first visits, or if you also do any %. So it's easy to do that if your mind just sort of wanders off and you're like, oh, I missed a box. I have to redo the whole level. I'll try and make sure I don't do that in the next level. All right, so there's 2 more stages after this, and then the last pseudo stage that has the 100% ending. This level is pretty notorious on the second visit. It's a very, very scary level on PB pace, or world record pace. This level has a lot of risk versus reward decision making, deciding what strats you want to go for based on what cycles you got, risking killing your run to get more time save. It's all over this level. Also, that was weird. I think that was my fault. I don't really know what happened there. It seemed like a dropped input, but I'm actually not sure. Just gonna wait. I don't like going for that on the second visit. You can do a submarine jump onto that spike. Whoops. Sometimes I try and wait, I want to check. Okay, a few days ago I walked past a box that was on the right there. I just want to make sure I didn't do that again. It's so hard to not autopilot sometimes when you've played this game for a long time. Better safe than sorry. Also, the strat there is to bounce off that turtle onto the box. That's fine. You can go in the back section here. Don't get stuck, because there's no boxes in the main area. I like this section of the game. It's pretty, the background and the clouds. Oh, I almost got that. It's very cool if you can execute that properly and break all those boxes in one bounce. Oh. Okay, just gonna wait at the end. I made some poor decisions there, but at least I'm alive. Again, risk versus reward all over the place in this stage. It's filled with global cycles. That last box strat at the end, everyone messes it up at some point, where you miss the box and land on the portal and you have to redo the whole level. There's a few funny clips of people missing that. It's always a great reaction. I have a means of doing it where I have time to look and see if I broke the box before moving towards the portal, and I can fall back down if I missed it. All right, so one more gem. You might notice I only have a 35%. It jumps to 100% after you complete this level because it gives you the percentage for beating all the levels. Normally that adds up when you when you save your game, but obviously in the speedrun we don't save our game. And so when the game sees you don't have the level completion percentage, it just gives you it since you didn't save. All right, second visit to this level, it's pretty much the same except for after the last checkpoint and the secret area where there's things worth noting. It's kind of unfortunate I don't have a mask, so I can't do the damage abuse. It's fine though. I also have to be extra cautious in the secret area. Yeah, the routing at the end is influenced a lot by this level because you want a mask for the damage abuse on the TNT later on. I'm gonna get a 106 with this. That would be insane. That would be my best marathon run in this category by 3 minutes. Whoa, D-pad kind of messed up there. All right. Yeah, normally you can spin that TNT and it breaks everything around there, but didn't have a mask. All right, so the gimmick at the end here is what we call boulder skip. If you zigzag enough, you won't have to wait on the color gem platform at the end. Because what you're supposed to do casually is you're supposed to wait for the boulder to fall down. But if you zigzag enough, you won't have to wait. The threshold's not too hard. A lot of people can do it. I am going to zigzag way less at the end here because I can drop my input. So just doing a few. All right. So yeah, as you can see, I don't have to wait on the boulder. All right, those plants are scary on that when you have no mask. Very scary. The depth perception isn't very good there. All right, so that was our last level, so we're gonna get 100%, and then we'll go to the level that triggers the 100% ending. Wow, I'm gonna get a 106 with this. I assume that timer's not laggy. Because I know GDQ once had an issue where the timer was laggy and it was giving people inaccurate times. But it does feel right to get a 106. The biggest mistake was just missing upstream skip, which is like a minute. So that combined with other mistakes that added up, I think a 106 is the appropriate time. All right, so yeah, this is the Great Hall. All the gems you've collected are here. Act as platforms, so you can get the 100% ending. Timing will end when I reach the end of this level and I lose control. Crash will jump up when he approaches the blonde girl at the end. Timing will end now. All right, so that was Crash Bandicoot 100%. I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for having me, NoReset Speedruns. I would like to give shout outs to the Crash 1 community, all the Crash 1 boys, both past and present. Y'all know who you are. I want to give shout outs to my family for being so supportive of this lovely hobby and always putting up with me saying no interruptions, please, all the time. And to the members of the posse and all my friends in the speedrun community, thanks for all the support and the good times and all that, and all the help throughout the ages. So yeah, 106, that's a very good time for a marathon in this category. That's the best run in a marathon in this category by over 3 minutes. It was a 109 by me previously. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm going to hand it over to the next runner. Good luck, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, congrats, Ted, for an awesome, amazing run. Actually, it would be like fourth on the leaderboard, so this is a pretty sick run. Coming up next is going to be Gravity Rush on PS4 with Singing Muffin. We'll be right back.